Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
Welcome back indeed, folks, to the one and only Yu-Gi-Oh podcast on the internet.
In fact, there is no news on the internet except for what we have right here.
We're the only people you can trust.
We're the only people.
Yeah. That's extra. Who's listening? I don't even know who's listening. Yeah, this is going to be a good one, I think. Some interesting card game things and just some stories I've been kind of excited to just chat about from the last week. I did dig up
some random things.
Yeah, so real quick, of course, before we get into it, you guys know the routine.
Put your ones up.
Ones in chat. If you are listening to the premiere, we appreciate you guys. I really enjoy actually just getting in the premieres and talking with the people, seeing how they kind of part of the conversation, you know?
I always like that there's consistently someone who thinks it's actually live.
Yeah. It is live. You didn't know? Just keep up this misinformation. No, but thank you guys who are in the premiere. Please leave a thumbs up as well. Thumbs upping the video, if you're just getting here, helps us out a lot. Just surfaces it to more people on YouTube. And if you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, we do have an RSS link so you can listen to it anywhere. Then leaving a positive review like the one I'm about to read helps as well.
Just spoil the fact that it's positive. Maybe it could have been negative, but now we know.
So this review comes to us from Sonny Balboa. Was it Rocky Balboa?
Rocky Balboa from the movie. Now, I don't know if this is related.
Love the pod. I'm newish to Yu-Gi-Oh! Been playing at locals and with friends for about 9 months. And I look forward to this podcast every week. Paul and Alec do an awesome job going over all the Yu-Gi-Oh! News and current events, along with Pokemon, Magic, Digimon, and all other TCGs. Thank you guys for everything you do, and don't ever stop making these episodes. They gave us 5 stars.
We appreciate it.
Sweet.
We do try.
Yeah, we will most certainly keep you up to date on the card games.
But I am curious, because that raises a question. Mm-hmm. If they've only been playing for 9 months, I'm so curious, what brought them to Yu-Gi-Oh? So many Yu-Gi-Oh players I know have either been playing for years, or they did play for years, and then they're getting back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, if they're actually new, then I'd like to hear their story. So, Sonny Balboa, if you're listening, which I assume you are, maybe leave a comment or something on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what's the story. It does feel like it's kind of difficult to find just a completely fresh face in almost any card game in 2024. Not that it's a bad thing, but just it's usually I guess a friend pulls you in, or maybe you're like you said a returning person. So many
card games have been established for 15, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Unless your name is Bandai, then you just make a new game every month.
Yeah, I guess that's one new entry point every other month. There's a new Bandai game you can play. Yeah, so positive reviews always appreciated. 5 stars helps spread it out to the world. And I think that's everything, huh? Before we get into the actual.
All right, guys, that's all we have for today.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Fast turn. No.
A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. Actually, not a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but some interesting Yu-Gi-Oh. Mm-hmm. So, where to start? I guess the Speed Duel Battle City Finals product.
Oh, yeah, guys. If you didn't know, there is one last final, and we're sure this is final, Speed Duel product.
Yeah, so this is Speed Duel Battle City Finals. It releases on December 13th. And basically, Konami dropped the entire set list in the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Database. They even revealed what the 30 potential prismatic secret rare cards are. 3 of them are just the Egyptian god cards.
Yeah.
Of course. I think they've actually done that once before, now that I think about it. One other set had them.
Did they?
Yeah, just the Streets of Battle City or something.
I guess that does make sense. The gods were all in Battle City.
Yeah, and then there's just a bunch of other cards. Do you have the image pulled up as well? If not,
Oh, thank God you have it. I was supposed to have it, and it's gone.
Yeah, I usually go to Yu-Gi-Oh! News, TCGs. Shout out to them. That is the best source of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just the quick, rapid news.
Be careful, Paul. Remember, we just said we're the only Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, yeah, sorry. Besides us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get our news from them or anything.
No.
Just in case anyone was wondering.
They get it from us.
So here are some of the secret rare cards you can get. Dark Magician Girl, Swords of Revealing Light, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Joker's Knight, Shrink. Gilbert the Lightning's an interesting one.
A nice old one.
I'll just say, I guess, the highlights that stick out to me, because I'm going to have the image on the screen so people can see. I think they did Lava Golem before. I feel like they did a secret rare Lava Golem.
Lava Golem was definitely him before.
I think getting a speed duel secret rare like Dark Necrofear might look kind of cool. Although that's been a secret in the past. But the new speed duel secret rare look might be nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's something really crazy. Mirage of Nightmare. Like that's banned.
That's the fusion monster, right?
No. The continuous
spell. The spell.
Yeah, the continuous spell.
I'm thinking of
draw
Reaper,
and all that stuff.
Whatever.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, it's going to be in Speed Duel. Same with Max C as it happens.
So strange. That is the weirdest.
I have a guess as to why it's in Speed Duel. Is maybe it's something kind of to do with like the Yugi strategy, since like he's kind of drawing cards and discarding cards to like modulate Slifer's attack points.
But like Maxi is such a strong card for that, you know. Like,
well, yeah, but in Speed Duel though, like how many special summons happen in a Speed Duel? Like 2 at the most in a turn.
True,
really.
Speed Duel isn't the most special summon heavy format. I mean, we do not even have like real proper extra deck monsters since they only do fusion.
Yeah, people were kind of assuming that this might mean like, oh, Maxi's coming back in the TCG. I doubt it.
Well, it's more than likely that they just want to get a Maxi reprint out there because of all the like Time Wizard formats.
Yeah, that's true. Like if somebody's playing like Tengu Plant format, because that's like the 2011 one, it's kind of been getting a little bit of popularity. It would be nice to have another way to get Maxi, and putting it in like a Speed Duel product. You know, it's kind of like a bit of a incentive to buy, because not a lot of the core people pay much attention to these Speed Duel things.
And I mean, if you have ever tried to pick up a Maxi in the last like year or so, I mean, Maxi is not a cheap card. It doesn't actually have many printings.
Yeah, and you won't really find it in like the average binder either.
No.
So like if you want to get it, you can either like order the single or whatever. So
now, is that a reason to get this set? I'm not sure if that's enough of a reason though.
Well, this just brings us back to like the typical Speed Duel conversation. I like these products. I think that having them in these kind of ready-to-play boxes is good. Mm-hmm. I think that they make for great, like, you know, grab and go, you know, grab this, grab some friends. We're going to be making a video on it, so.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah.
Because personally, I love Speed Duels. I love the box sets. I love collecting them all. And this set specifically has a lot of my favorite cards in it. Mm-hmm. Though it is a little weird. Because of all the legacy printing Konami's done, literally just this year alone,
yeah,
a lot of the cards that would have been a huge draw for me
are overlapping.
They've now been printed again.
That's true, actually, because like I'm seeing Mobius as like one of the secret rares, for instance, and like I know that was one of the ones that they were talking about was in like the quarter century bonanza. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it's like a bad thing that's in here too, but it does feel like, well, maybe if you already got like your Mobius QCR from quarter century bonanza, like maybe you don't really, now it's not really as much of a draw for a product like this.
But there still are some significant cards, like secret rare DD Warrior. He's
That's
never
fun. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened.
Secret rare. Secret rare Doom Caliber Knight. Now I think Doom Caliber does have.
I mean, it came out like Ultra originally. I think was its printing.
Yeah, its
like
first
a manga
printing was
thing.
Ultra. So I don't think it actually has a secret.
Yeah, I don't think
so I do like that printing. You're getting, I think maybe not the whole Gravekeeper set, but Gravekeeper Spy is secret.
And
Necro Valley is secret.
Descendant. I like Azura Priest, by the way.
I love rare. Azura Priest.
That's fun. And Injection Fairy Lily was a secret rare on release, but it's been so many years. Like
true, you know. and you know how I feel about Legacy of Darkness cards. Like
yeah.
Like I gotta love it. So you know what? I do think the secret rare picks are pretty good, and then all the commons in the set, they just help you fill out cores for decks that if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, these decks are something that you might hold dear. Maybe not the shuffle Jack's Knight deck. That's a very new thing.
But I think that's a cool interpretation of it. Like, so basically, you know, the idea of the set is that these are the 8 Battle City finalists. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I guess a few latent cards just thrown in at the end. And really the only way that you're going to make Yugi's Slifer-based deck any sort of functional is you got to throw in, like, those Joker Knights, Imperial Bower.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think thematically it's still in the right neighborhood. Also, as they clarify, it's only going to be coming out in North America and Latin America. So Europe just won't be getting this.
I'm sorry, y'all. And I've been saying it, that Europeans are some of the most ravenous Yu-Gi-Oh players out there. It's a shame that they'll have to import the set.
You know what I think is so strange about this? Well, maybe this isn't so strange. I don't know. I'm just like, since this is the last Speed Duel thing anyway, and Konami's like said that, then why not like go to a little extra effort and just release it in Europe? Like,
But
it's the last
then
one
you would
anyway.
question
Like,
why go through the effort of like canceling the last one.
yeah, you're right. I don't know. I guess that's just business, right? You know,
It is
corporate
just
decisions.
business. I'm looking at the deck lists here, and like these are a little spicier than I thought they were.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Yugi having the the Joker's Night strategy feels a little strong, right?
Yeah.
But like, what's in Kaiba's deck? Union Hanger.
Yeah, but I think Union Hanger was in Speed Duel already.
It was?
Yeah, it was, because it was part of the... They did it in like an earlier Battle City one.
Like the actual Union Hanger
Union
card,
Hanger
not a
field
skill.
spell.
Oh, wow.
Field spell.
I did not know it was already in there.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff in here is kind of repeats. I took a look at the list. I wasn't going to look too closely because I guess like we're going to be doing a video with it. So
Too late.
I don't want to spoil myself too much.
I'm reading a lot.
Yeah, Alec is like, well, I'm going to know it all. Yeah, but I saw that, they're doing kind of the Union thing for Kaiba. Yugi's got Joker's Night, the kind of the face
Poor
card
Joey.
nights.
He's got the deck I was trying to build when Speed Duels first came out.
Well, just like kind of warrior.
He's just got like warrior stuff, but he does run Gearfried with Blast with Chain. You might remember that was the combo I wanted to play the most when Speed Duels first came out. Poor Marek. Marek doesn't have a deck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not too surprised.
Like,
Although I saw they gave him like Millennium Revelation.
Yeah, he has like some of the raw stuff, but not really enough for it to be good. But that would be overpowered in Speed Duels, I think. So instead, you have kind of a raw strategy with a bunch of cards that, I mean, good luck working with New Doria and Dark Geroid.
Yeah, they gotta get stuff like that. Like that. Those are just examples of like kind of old school Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you might have some nice fond memories of the idea of them, but they suck. And even in these like low power formats, they tend to not really be great. So
the Bakura deck, it does not have the new Dark Necrofear stuff. At least I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I guess I get why.
I get it, but if they're gonna give Yugi like new stuff, why didn't Bakura get any new stuff?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Those face card night thing, I've played with that deck a bit. It kind of sucks. So maybe it's fine.
I mean, he's not the only one who got shafted because Ishizu's deck is a
yeah.
It has actual like Agito, Kelbeck, Mudora, Keldo, and Zolga.
Yeah, but it's got some of the new ones too. Like their restraints.
Only one I see is Mudora.
Oh, well. Hey, it's something. They probably didn't want to like release it all because it could get a little much.
Though it is cool that in her deck and Odeon actually share Gravekeepers.
Yeah, I think that they also like sort of share the trap monster thing because like Zoma the Spirit was one that she uses, I believe. But like technically you'd probably use it in an Odeon strategy because like it's trap monsters. So they might, and they're brother and sister, so
true.
It kind of feels thematically.
Then they brought back Mai's Harpy Amazon deck. I still don't quite understand mixing the two because both strategies are very, very different.
But they had a skill that did that. And like
they did,
at least in Duel Links there was. I don't know if that was ever in Speed Duel, but
so we actually don't know the skills for this set.
Not yet. It might be in the database and I missed it, but that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. That'll be, now that I spoiled the entire set for myself, I have something to look forward to.
Well, here's something a little, not actually all that related, but I thought it was kind of interesting is, have you noticed that they have been combining the ace cards of the protagonists and their rivals?
What do you mean?
So I saw Yu-Gi-Oh! News posted this. We posted it first because we're the only news outlet in Yu-Gi-Oh! But
we gave them permission.
They happened to post it as well. So recently the Alliance Insight set dropped. That's the next like mainline set.
Oh, okay. I hadn't even heard of it.
It's called Alliance Insight. It's not out. It's just been announced. That's going to be the one after Supreme Darkness. And so we've gotten a few of the cards that have been revealed for it. As usual, I haven't really been going over too many of them on the podcast because like it's so far away and we don't really cover like OCG stuff much.
I haven't even seen them.
Well, anyway, Their access code, like adding Nister cards, which I just love my Cyberse monsters.
I've never seen you play a Cyberse card.
Yeah, Cyberse is my favorite type in Yu-Gi-Oh! And my favorite deck to face. I don't know if you're aware of this information.
Guys, I think he's being deceitful.
I fucking hate them. I really do not like Cyberse. I do not like that deck at all. But anyways, so they get this new card called like AC Code Talker at Ignister, which is a combination of Access Code Talker and Dark Templar at Ignister. So basically it's like Yusaku's Ace Code Talker, and I think is his Ace card. And so they pointed out that lately in the last like several sets, they've actually been combining protagonists' Ace cards with their like rivals cards. Or like one of their rivals cards. So like for instance, there's like Armed Neos, there's like Elemental Hero Neos and Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. Obviously, Dragon Master Magia.
Right.
Shooting Star Dragon TGEX is... Yeah, it's Shooting Star Dragon and TG Blade Blaster, but...
I feel like the obvious choice would have been Red Dragon here.
Yeah, there's also like Full Armored Utopic Ray Lancer and Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon Overlord. So just kind of like a trend. They just been like combining.
Okay, but that's not really fair because canonically in Arc 5, Yuya does fuse with Yuto's dragon. So like that's like a cop out.
Yeah, so something I've noticed about all of them is that they are very much all like TCG exclusive cards. Like these were never concepts in the anime really. Like the cards were never...
This forces me to bring it up once again that in Arc 5 he did do that. It's technically a different monster, but this is just kind of an upgrade of that monster.
Yeah. It's cool. I was going to say, and maybe this is like me being a little too negative about it, I almost feel like this is what you have to do when there's not a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series running. You kind
of have to milk the anime for everything you possibly can get out of it.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds me.
Oh my gosh, what if they just start mashing up monsters kind of for the hell of it?
I think that's where we're gonna go.
Like Injection Fairy Lily, like riding Catapult Turtle, or
it's just everything. Everyone's just kind of just hanging out. It's like like literally, like Warrior Dagrefer and like Warrior Lady of the Wastelands are like kind of fighting.
Right.
What if they literally like they just start dating and like those are just monsters. Like it's just like a pair of monsters.
Okay, this isn't
like
Rush Duel.
It's an archetype. Yeah, that's true. That's what Rush Duel would do. They're literally on a date and like that's like a magic card or whatever.
I remember in Pokemon they had these like team up cards.
Yeah.
Where it'd be two different Pokemon but on the same card. Yu-Gi-Oh could do the same thing if we're really trying to just milk the like anime nostalgia for every little bit that we can get, right? Mm-hmm. We can take two characters who maybe were friends or teamed up together and just combine their monsters for like a card. Like put them both on the same card together. Like how Duke and Tristan were both friends chasing after Joey's sister. So it'll be Lava Battle Guard and
Orgoth the
Relentless.
I mean, it does like bring up for me like we probably could use another like actual main Yu-Gi-Oh series because like as it is now, because there's nothing running like a kind of a mainline Yu-Gi-Oh anime running. It's like, this is what you get. It's just a bunch of like, okay, well, we've given, Neos new support in the last like 2 years or so. We've given Armed Dragons new support. What else can we do? Okay, now they're like combined into a fusion and it's kind of like...
Maybe this is actually the strategy. Maybe we misunderstood what Konami's been up to this whole time. That Konami felt like, or the power, it's not Konami, of course. The powers that be felt like we weren't appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime anymore, so they put us on pause. And then Konami just starts working their magic with every little anime reference that they can make a card out of. And then the powers that be are in like another like couple years gonna be like, all right, I think they're finally ready, that they'll finally be happy at seeing a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Because let's be honest, ever since, let's say, 5Ds, we've been continuously more and more critical of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series.
Yeah, so maybe I get what you're saying. Like, they're just reminding us, here's what you liked about the anime, and you're going to buy it now. And, you're going to appreciate it.
By the time they make a new one, we'll be so anime-starved, it could be horrible, and we'll be watching it week to week.
Yeah. Or you could be like me. I would watch it either way. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, so... No, I didn't watch that much Vrains. I watched the tail end of Vrains on a whim. Like, I don't know. I think like Alex and I were like just scrolling around on Crunchyroll, and it was like, oh, it's like the last 2 duels in the series. I guess we'll just watch that. I didn't know.
Now you're saying I've watched Vrains.
Yeah, so you could say I'm a pretty big Vrains fan.
Look, you've seen more than me. I struggle to get past the first 3 episodes.
Okay,
actually,
so
the first 2.
Here's something also kind of interesting. You know how they released like those Asian English Blue Eyes and Dark Magician structure decks?
Yeah.
We did some videos on them. Well, they've announced 2 new decks for Yu-Gi-Oh's like Asian English territories.
Watch it be something fire.
It's amazing. It's the Dual Ignition decks. So,
oh, wow.
Dual Ignition Swordsoul and Dual Ignition Hero. And these boxes look so sick.
I mean, well, those are just the cards.
I mean, it's just the cards. But,
like, you know.
But it's that like red and white versus like blue and black. Like it's a very nicely contrasted kind of versus feel to the product. You know what I mean?
It feels kind of Master Duel-y to me. Swordsoul, Neos.
It reminds you of like the tactical tries a little bit, like in vibe. So yeah, it's basically a Swordsoul deck, like kind of ready to play out the box, and a Hero deck. And the one thing about like these Asian English products is that they'll never release new cards in them.
Right.
So unlike, if we were to get a Swordsoul structure here, it would have like new support for Swordsouls or something. These won't have any new cards, I presume. They come out on the 30th, actually, of November, so they're coming out here in like a week. But they just seem kind of nice. Like the box art looks
they
great.
are nice. That's a fact.
Yeah, I don't think we have deck lists for them yet, or at least I couldn't find any, but they just look really cool. So
I like that it's a synchro deck versus a fusion deck. It's kind of a like, so the theme here is not actually the archetypes themselves, but the summoning types that they use.
I will be pre-ordering these on some site if I can find them. Usually I use like Yu-Gi Market out to see if they...
I also like them because we'll get rarities of cards. Well, at least if these were different decks, I'd say we get rarities of cards we've never seen before. But at this point, Swordsoul and Neos have had enough reprints at different rarities. You can probably max rarity those decks fairly easily.
Small little detail I noticed on these. There's the Asian English edition, which means you can't use these cards officially in the TCG, although you could probably bring them to locals.
You better look hard at my cards.
But it actually says 9+ years. And here at least in like North America, Yu-Gi-Oh is like marketed as like 6+. But it's interesting that in Asia, they're marketing as like ages 9+.
What's the difference between a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old? I know 3 years, but like, what's the like?
I mean, you tell me.
Difference?
I guess like they can read better. Like maybe their reading comprehension's a little.
I know a 9-year-old who can't read to save his life.
Well, I'm just saying. Listen, I mean, what do you think about that though? Like, just that. I guess in Asia, it's kind of deemed as like a slightly older kids game. Like it's still kids, but like a little older.
Well, I mean, if you just those Neos cards and Swordsoul cards have so much text on them that should be a barrier to someone who is just now learning how to read. Like,
yeah.
I would not put a Swordsoul deck in front of a kid who's only learned how to read like a year ago.
So these are cool. I'll try to get my hands on them. Might be a fun little video. Now here's the last bit of Yu-Gi-Oh news that I could find anyway. SH Monster Arts has announced another Yu-Gi-Oh monster, and it's going to be Stardust Dragon, a new figure.
Ooh, now Stardust is that guy.
Yeah, have a little look at that. It's their Stardust figure.
Ooh.
As you guys know, we got to see some of the SH Monster Arts figures at New York Comic Con.
We didn't see that one.
Yeah, we did not see this one, and it looks really cool.
Stardust is one of those monsters that will kind of make all the other monsters look worse by comparison.
Stardust is a very strong design to me.
It's probably one of our most well-designed dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh history. I would argue it looks better than the Blue Eyes.
I think it feels like an evolution of Kazuki Takahashi's dragon style a little bit.
It might be the perfected form.
Yeah, so this is the 5th one because there's Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, and Dark Magician, which we saw. And then also Flame Wingman and now Stardust Dragon.
I have to get the Flame Wingman, but now I also want Stardust.
This is good, too, for people who kind of get a little bit tired of, like, more DM monsters just getting... Because there's like a billion different Red Eyes figures and Blue Eyes figures and stuff.
And why do I have none?
That's your fault.
That's true.
Well, you have a Red Eyes figure. We got one back there. We have some SH Monster Arts figures that
I don't have it. It's on the floor here.
Need to open. But, yeah, so that just might be kind of cool. I don't know exactly when it releases. They don't seem to have like a date, but I guess it's probably mid or late 2025.
They have a fully painted like model to show off. I mean,
yeah, it probably can't be too
far off.
Right. And that's the Yu-Gi-Oh news, unless I maybe missed something.
I want to show, I can't show the actual sweater, but there was this ugly Yu-Gi-Oh sweater, and we'll pull it up on screen so you guys can see. It caught my eye, or a friend sent it to me, and the most intriguing part about this sweater is that it has one of the sleeves has a dual disc where the cards are actually Velcro that can attach and be and detached from the dual disc.
The dual disc is like on your arm because it's like the sleeve. That is so cool.
So you can pick them up, you can slam them back down.
You can, like, draw your cards or like activate them, set them face down.
Just the right amount of extra for Christmas, you know?
That's very clever. I might buy that. Hey, like, for real. I mean, if somebody like that, because here's the thing, there's a lot of, like, ugly Christmas sweater Yu-Gi-Oh designs I've seen. Some aren't even like official. I've seen like these ads on Instagram. I think
this one's official.
It's from Box Lunch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's from Box Lunch, I think those are officially licensed. They made some other really cool like Yu-Gi-Oh jerseys that were officially licensed. Those look really cool as well. I might get it. Maybe you should get it. Duel people with your Christmas sweater.
But the cards are Velcro. There's not actually something on them, I don't think.
Well, yeah, but like you can like emphatically claim to like play one card face down and yell it at somebody at the grocery store.
Oh yeah, I would do that all the time. Yeah. I would just.
How much is it? I mean, I know it's probably pricey.
60.
That's not as bad as it could be.
It definitely could be.
Yeah, I was expecting you to say like $90.
Like if it were just a regular, Yu-Gi-Oh sweaters, like 60 is too much. But the fact that I can pick up cards and slam them on my dual disc arm, I could pay 60 for that. I could do that.
Yeah, so
I'm about to be a menace under the Christmas tree.
That sounded so weird. A menace under the Christmas tree.
You know what? I want to take that one back because that does sound suspect.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
And I'm not going to elaborate.
Open to interpretation. That's the Yu-Gi-Oh! We got any other card game stuff? I've seen little bits and pieces this week.
So it's kind of random. So, you know how we talked about GameStop and PSA?
Yeah.
This isn't a full story, but PSA's parent company, their CEO has actually been added to GameStop's board of directors.
Oh.
So even further kind of cementing the partnership between PSA and GameStop, it looks like they're in for a penny and in for a pound.
So I guess like at this point, it sounds like what they're trying to do is really like, GameStop is just going to be a card kind of collectibles grading. Like just that whole lifestyle is going to be like part of GameStop now. Like it's going to be married.
We can look at GameStop as maybe a PSA brick and mortar now.
Yes.
Like it'll do its own thing still, but PSA doesn't really have a physical like presence. But now you can start looking at GameStop as a more direct way to interact with PSA.
They're married now. They're no longer having an affair.
Yes, the affair is over. They're legal.
Yeah, they're not living in sin. They're not shacking up.
They're on paper.
PSA is moved in with GameStop. Or, I mean, I don't know. Would you say it's probably PSA's moved in with GameStop, not GameStop's moved in with PSA?
Yeah, I mean, because the PSA or the CEO of their parent companies moved into their board. So
yeah, what do you think? I mean, you think this is like a good move?
I mean, it shows that they are dedicated to whatever this partnership is really supposed to be. I mean, we'll have to see if GameStop records gains after, because we haven't really seen any economic data from their whole PSA venture, how profitable it's been, and I haven't really heard too much word of mouth from people who've used the PSA grading service through GameStop and have liked it. But I don't actually go around GameStop myself enough, so I'll have to check it out.
That's cool. Speaking of PSA, kind of reminds me of Pokemon. I saw that Pokemon TCG Pocket surpasses $120 million in earnings within just 17 days. So you guys know.
I can, for once in my life, say that I had no part of that.
Yeah, you didn't contribute.
I did not spend any money on a mobile game.
Neither did I. I didn't find it. Well, okay, I'll read the article and then I'll share my thoughts. So Pokemon TCG Pocket has exceeded $120 million in gross revenue just 17 days after its global release. So it's captivated players worldwide with its blend of collectible card gaming and competitive battling. Yeah, according to data from App Magic, Pokemon TCG Pocket is averaging a staggering $6.4 million per day in player spending. What the hell? On November 15th, the game achieved its most lucrative day so far. Did something happen on that day? I don't know.
$6.4 million a day.
Earning $8.2 million across the App Store and Google Play.
Which day was that?
That was November 15th, which today's like November 20th. So I guess that was on like maybe last like Friday or something. Was there like an event or something that happened? I don't know.
There has been an event going on in game, but I don't know if that would have. It didn't kick off on Friday.
Maybe that just randomly people just decided to play it then.
People got paid.
Well, anyway, these figures have placed the game as the Pokemon Company's second largest mobile launch, just $18 million shy of Pokemon Go's unprecedented $138.8 million.
Just $18 million shy.
That's just so wild. Like, people are spending a lot. I'm like you. Like, I haven't spent any money on Pokemon TCG Pocket. Like, I've been playing it. I've opened my packs
how much do you
every
think
day.
you've spent in mobile games in general in your life?
A total of like $50.
See,
maybe more than that.
See, that's like that's where we're very different in that way. Neither of us has spent any money in this game. But while if I totaled up how much I've spent in mobile games over the course of my life, you would all be very, very, very disappointed in me.
Yeah, Alec will spend on his games. He's a whale.
Mom, if you're watching this, turn off the pod now.
Yeah, it's like. He goes to jail for like just crippling debt and bankruptcy. It's literally thanks to mobile games.
You're like, why do you have so many Google Play transactions?
Yeah, it's like not an unpaid mortgage. It's not like student loans. It's just literally. Yeah, so since its debut, it's generated 35.8 in its first week, 48.5 in its second week, and then another 37.2 million 5 days into the third week. So. Japan remains the game's largest revenue contributor, unsurprising. They love their Pokemon. And then the United States follows closely behind. So
to me, it's always terrifying when the Japanese are leading in like revenue metrics because the population for Japan is just so much smaller.
Yeah,
that tells you just how this will be the second time I said ravenous today, but that's how ravenous they are for this Pokemon content.
Yeah, I mean, Japan in general, it feels like with every IP you think of, they're just so much more like, it's all in. Like, I mean, I know obviously it originates from Japan, so it makes sense that like with Yu-Gi-Oh, with Pokemon, with like Final Fantasy.
But if they made a Fast and Furious Pocket app, like, I don't think it would be.
That?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Race through explosions or something.
You pull cars? Do they drive cars in Fast and Furious anymore? Someone tell me. I haven't watched one since Fast 5.
Yeah, so the game offers players over 250 Pokemon cards to collect and use in battles, with monetization heavily centered around the in-game currency called Pokegold. Players can purchase this currency to acquire card packs and other items, though the game also provides up to 3 free packs daily through a combination of giveaways and a $10 monthly pass.
Had you asked me what the premium currency for the game was, I wouldn't have been able to tell you.
I don't even know what it's called. There's like 3 different tickets and hourglasses.
Pokegold is the one you can directly pay for.
The last little tidbit here is that Pokemon TCG Pocket has already outperformed the first 19-day earnings of Pokemon Masters, which launched in 2019 and took in $26.4 million during its initial release period.
I'm so sad that that's one I did spend money on.
Yeah, Pokemon Masters, you don't hear too much about that. Is that still up? Is it still going?
I have no idea. I remember I lost my account, so I lost interest.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I played a little Pokemon Masters, and then I think they made like Pokemon Masters EX.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that was about.
I think it was just like not a reboot, but like a major expansion.
But like the game hadn't even been out long enough, at least in my opinion, to do a rebrand. But you know,
I thought Pokemon Masters was kind of cool just because it was. So you know, like Pokemon Go, obviously it's like been the most groundbreaking and had like people meeting up and doing all that stuff. But it kind of
brought us together as a people.
Yeah, last time we were like
truly happy,
truly together as people, 2016. But what was I going to say? So, like Pokemon Go had like kind of an all new cast of characters. It was like Team Spark and Team Instinct and all that stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, Instinct. Spark was the leader of Instinct.
Yeah, it was like
Team Instinct, Valor, and Mystic.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I didn't really ever get into Pokemon Go lore-wise because like I didn't know who these characters were. They were just unique to this game. Kind of didn't care. Mm-hmm. What I liked about Pokemon Masters was that it was like just mostly just game characters with their ace Pokemon, and they like formed a sync pair. Was what it was called, and so I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
I tried to get back into it when someone was paired with Tyranitar. I want to say that was a Brock, and I couldn't find my account, so I got mad.
So I thought that was kind of neat. I think like, you know, using the characters you know and love, and they had like a few new characters for Pokemon Masters, like because it had like a whole story. Because I remember playing some of that, but yeah. So cool. Pokemon TCG Pocket's doing great. I'm not surprised by this. I guess the only part that shocks me is like, for me, it felt pretty clear when I played the game that like this isn't really like, I mean, you just collect these cards. Like,
you say just collect, like this game isn't one of the highest grossing app games in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Right,
I guess I'm trying to like put it together in my head as like what was causing people to spend this much. Like, do you just have to get the card like today?
FOMO.
Like, you can't just wait until tomorrow's pulls.
FOMO.
Okay.
The fact that in this game you get to see what other people are pulling in the game.
Yeah, I guess like you gotta hurry too, because like someone's pulled the God Pack and they shared it on Twitter. You have to be the next one.
I mean, the most I can really wrap my head around is I'll do my daily polls, but I don't personally feel like there's actually a hurry to pull any one thing. I think I've battled a total of 17 times in this game.
I have not battled. Okay, I have done all of the solo battles.
Okay, so you've done a few. You've done more than me, at least.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that just to get whatever the prizes and rewards for it were. And there was like some event where you had to do a few more of them. And they were fun. Honestly, I just use auto battle for like 80% of it, but a few that I manually.
I forgot there was an auto battle feature.
So convenient. But well, it's sort of convenient. It's very like RNG-ish. Like, because
it just kind of tries to beat stick your plays and just
sort of. It makes weird decisions. Like, it'll like swap your Pokemon out to prevent them from dying, but like sometimes that's not strategically the best move. So. Oh,
okay.
Either way, I've done that. I've done one online battle, like a single one.
I think I've also done one online battle.
So.
And it was against some like what felt like an optimized Mewtwo EX deck. It slapped me around so bad. I said, I can play solo. I can just play solo. I have played against Alex a few times.
Yeah. Oh, so you can just like play against a friend.
Yeah, you can just play against your friends.
Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, that's TCG Pocket. I guess I really shouldn't be surprised. I keep forgetting this is Pokemon we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, number one media franchise. This is the game
where we're talking about the $500 Pikachu last week.
That is true. So.
Just one of the $500+ Pikachus. Remember, this is also the game where the Van Gogh Pikachu had people acting crazy.
Yeah, they're attacking the museum exhibit.
Like this is the game where there are twice weekly crimes.
Yeah, we have a theft story every week. Well, cool. Let us know. You guys have been playing TCG Pocket. Have you been liking it? I've been meaning I'm going to make a video, I think, just on my thoughts on it as coming from Yu-Gi-Oh. I think that might be fun if people would want to see that. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Any other TCG stuff?
So this isn't really a story, but I remember I was on Reddit the other day, and this Japanese card shop owner had this tier list of card games. And I know as TCG players, we just love hearing Japanese opinions about card games because somehow they're more valid than ours.
Got to.
And what the context here is, this is Tomoharu Saito, I think the owner of the biggest Magic card store in Japan, I think Tomo Happy. I don't know if the store is called Tomo Happy or if his online handle is Tomo Happy.
Tomo Happy.
Couldn't tell you. Anyway, let's get into his tier list and just tear it apart.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a letter.
This is on Reddit?
It's on Reddit.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can find it while you're...
It's a lettered tier list, S through D. There's only... Wait, should I start from top to bottom or bottom to top, you think?
Let's do top to bottom.
Okay. So there's only one S tier game. And without any context, because the video's in Japanese and I can't really tell you why he thinks this, the Pokemon TCG is an S tier card game. Now, now that I've played TCG Pocket, I can tell you I'm a master of the Pokemon TCG. No, but from a card shop owner standpoint, I definitely can see why you would rate Pokemon so highly, because those cards sell.
Yeah,
the packs sell.
They move.
The singles sell.
I think
what are the boxes called? The Elite Trainer boxes. Those sell.
I think the biggest thing for Pokemon too is it is like culturally there. You know what I mean?
And it's always culturally
it's like
there.
It's always been culturally there. And I think that's something that no other card game, and obviously this is Japan, so it's a little bit different, but like universally, Pokemon is just, you don't go like anywhere without just seeing Pokemon in some form or fashion. Just kids know about it from the moment that they like walk outside the house. It's, you know, I think if you're a card shop owner, you can just know that Pokemon cards are always going to sell. They're always going to sell. Like the singles, the packs. There will be like, you know, tournaments and interest, and yeah.
So that is the only S tier game on this list. Okay. Now A tier has a few, and I would argue one is controversial.
Okay, let's hear it.
So A tier, the One Piece card game.
Okay,
we've heard a lot of people excited around One Piece. There's been a lot of collectors, lots of big money cards in that game. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, right?
Yeah. All right.
Next up is Duel Masters, which I understand in Japan, Duel Masters has always been a popular game.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this just means it sells well.
Yeah, it must. I've heard Duel Masters is very popular in Japan. I know for us, not the case at all.
We don't even have a Duel Masters anymore.
It was Kaijudo when it was released in the West, right?
No, first it was Duel Masters, then it was re-released as Kaijudo.
Okay.
Very strange.
Anywho.
Next up is Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG.
Yeah.
So it makes A tier. It better be at A tier at least. Mm-hmm. After that is Union Arena, which I struggle with this since it's so new. I'll skip to the end of this A tier list. It's Weiss Schwartz and Magic. You're telling me Union Arena, which might only be in Japan, 3 sets in maybe? So you're already up here with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh?
I've got a few thoughts on this whole A tier. So I have heard some rumblings from some people who feel that One Piece has actually displaced Yu-Gi-Oh! As one of the big 3 in America. Some people feel that way, depending on like your area.
That's actually why I didn't argue One Piece, because I've heard similar things.
I think it has earned its spot on the list. Obviously in Japan it's going to be huge. That's just like a given. But like even in America, it's been doing really well. I don't know that I would say that it's like, did I have enough evidence to suggest that it's like completely replaced Yu-Gi-Oh! On the big 3? But I'm also coming at that from more of a like kind of content perspective. There's still not like huge One Piece creators, and like, you know, whenever there's like One Piece news around like products, it doesn't feel like there's quite as much like hype / vitriol. It doesn't feel like the emotions are quite as strong. However, at the card shop level, I have definitely seen, I feel like they're neck and neck.
One Piece players definitely show up and show out for their events, so there's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
but my issue was with Union Arena because it's just so new.
Here's why I think that it's in this person's A tier. I'm just taking a guess. Is because it's new. I think that something that I heard was, it's so funny you brought this up actually. I watched this video just like last week from Millennium Games. It's like the biggest card shop in was it like in New Jersey, somewhere. Either way, you're like this card shop owner. He does a podcast each week or every other week, whatever. He talks about like kind of the ins and outs of like, you know, running a card shop, running games and events and stuff. And he was saying how the typical trend for Bandai games is that they have a super strong start and then they kind of like and then they like peter out. And that the only game that's really bucked that trend has been One Piece. It's managed to continue to grow. But in general, it's mostly, you know, kind of like big release, loss of interest. In Japan, though, I could see Union Arena being a little bit different because it's like, well, it's got a similar appeal to like Weiss Schwartz. It's like a crossover card game. So whatever your favorite anime is, you can kind of rest assured it's going to show up in Weiss Schwartz or it's going to show up in Union Arena. And anime being anime and it being Japan, like I can see where that would all just kind of meld together to form a quite popular card game.
At least it can. I'm still mixed on Union Arena. I haven't really played since the demo deck, but whenever Union Arena releases an anime that I truly care about and like, I'll give it a try again and see how I feel.
Yeah. What were I'm trying to think of any other like highlights from the A tier.
Other than that, it was just Union Arena, Weiss, Magic.
Yeah, I've heard some people say like for some card shops, like Magic wouldn't even be an A tier in Japan.
I mean, we've been to Tokyo and Magic was not well represented.
It's not.
It was there.
It's there, but it tends to be
small,
a little more tucked into corners. Obviously, I know like people are going to hear that and be like, "What? No, like Magic's the best thing ever." But like, just to keep in mind, like we're talking about kind of
this is
Japan,
Tokyo, Japan,
where like obviously their kind of home like domestic IPs are just going to have a natural advantage, I think, against.
And they have more card games.
Yeah,
like, they have plenty of options.
The card game market, if you think it's competitive here in Japan, it's like literally like there are buildings where it's just it's like a 10-story building, and every floor has like 3 or 4 card shops. And it's just there are enough card games that can just be a factor.
And heck, I mean, we're only on A tier, but the lower we get on this list, the more card games I'm going to mention that you've never heard of, because Japan does not get enough of card games. They have games we can't imagine.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts. I don't know if you have anything else in A tier.
So I'm really going to end it off on B tier. After this, I'm going to just kind of list off.
Obscure.
Because the names, I don't even know many of the C and D tier games. But in B tier, notable games, Lorcana.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Super. Flesh and Blood. Vanguard. Battle Spirits. Shadowverse Evolve. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel. Digimon card game. And then Dream Order. Rebirth for You, Detective Conan, the trading card game. God, it seems that's running just as long as the anime.
Is Wii Cross in there? Is that like
that's else? Further? That's in like C tier.
I won't even worry about it. Yeah. anyways, that's a lot of God. Like it just really there's so gosh darn many card games. Major takeaways that come to mind for you? So
Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel being in the same conversation as Vanguard, Battle Spirits, Lorcana, and Digimon actually does give me hope for that card game. You know, I would love for Rush Duel to be their biggest card game, but it kind of can't be, you know.
Yeah,
it's a competitive market.
It's a competitive market is another thing.
Battle Spirits and Vanguard, like Digimon, these games have been around for a while. That's good company to be in if a store is comparing card games.
Yeah, to be compared to those, I think is good. It's kind of cool to see that Lorcana has picked up even that much traction in Japan. Like, given that,
Disney, they do love them some Disney.
Yeah, they like Disney. I just know it's like more of a Western property, so I figured, like Magic, that would be like much stronger over here. But it's cool to see that, like, you know, like players do seem like they're buying their Lorcana cards and stuff. They're playing.
And I wish Digimon was higher up because that is my favorite card game of choice. But at least it's not in C tier.
I truly believe Digimon is a card game that would. I'm not saying that it would be like better off without Bandai. I think it would just be better off if it could get like full focus from a parent company. Agreed. As opposed to being like
just one of the many
one
games.
Of like the 5 children that you have to 5-6 children that you have to like pay attention to. And now it's got like the Gundam game. There's going to be so much. Like
so many.
So Dragon Ball Super was in this tier?
Yes, Dragon Ball Super is in no, it was in a B tier. It was in B tier.
Oh, this was B tier.
No, this is B tier. Yeah. Sorry, I was already getting horrified when I was looking at the C tier list.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, B tier sounds believable to me.
Outside of like Rebirth for You that I've never heard of, or Dream Order, I know the rest of these games.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to go through C tier and D tier. You tell me if you know any of these.
Yeah, you guys are. I don't know.
Sorcery Contested Realm, Quintessential Quintuplets, the card game.
I got a card game? Wow.
Ultraman card game, Hololive official card game.
I've heard of the last two, actually.
Kayun Coliseum, Divine Cross, Asuka trading card game, Wix Cross.
I think that's Wii Cross. Somebody corrected me. I called it like Wix Sauce or something before, and it's like Wii Cross.
Boy, I can't stand them. So what is this next one? Z Cross? Because there's Z in next.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but that's just something someone said.
Anyway. Lycée Overture, Build Divide Bright, Grand Archive.
Oh, Grand Archive's in Japan?
Good for them. It made it there.
Hey, pop off.
And it's in C tier because there is a D tier.
Oh, God. Okay. What's D tier?
Kanagi card game, Ninja Slayer trading card game, the Caster Chronicles trading card game, Gate Ruler, and Mushijingi.
Cool, my favorites.
Yeah, D tier. I've never
those are
heard
all my
of
favorites.
any
I love
of
those
these
games.
But and that's not a criticism of these games. I literally don't know them. It's just more so an example of just how big the industry is there. When we talk about card games in the U.S., we're talking about 5 max, right?
I'm reminded. I mean, well, in the U.S., I think
Okay,
before
now
that would have been the case. These days, it's like 10.
Yeah, okay, 10.
But here's the thing.
This is way more than 10.
This reminds me actually of a sort of something I noticed that's different between Japan and America. Again, only been there once. Just been to a few card shops in Japan.
Now you're a master of Japan?
Yeah, I completely understand the country and its culture.
Okay. Can you speak,
I might as well be a
can you speak
citizen.
the language, though?
Itadakimasu.
Wow.
Anyway, the point is, those card shops there are so much more willing to carry like a mediocre performing game on the shelf long term. Like it feels like card shops here in the States, everything is so competitive. I mean, most card shops are literally not super profitable. They're kind of more community driven initiatives. People aren't, you don't own a card shop if you want to make a load of money. It's something that you do if you, like want to cultivate community and you like card games. But in Japan, you will find these games that are in D tier and stuff that like you've never heard of. They will still have some small bit of shelf space on these shops. And I just know that if this was America, these shop owners just would not carry them anymore.
No,
these card games don't sell.
Money.
You just, like, I can just stop. I mean, we've seen card shops that have threatened to stop like carrying things like Yu-Gi-Oh when it, like last year when it wasn't like doing super well.
And Yu-Gi-Oh is a top 3. Arguably like, top 4 game.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of these big games and it doesn't matter because, maybe it's just culturally there's maybe something about like, you give everybody space on the shelf. Like if there is a kid, if there's like this Japanese kid and he's 10 and he likes this obscure D tier by this metrics game, he can go to a card shop and he will still find it.
Yeah.
And it
out here, I'd be struggling to find Digimon cards.
Yeah, it might be in a corner, but like it will be at a game shop, and that's, I think, commendable. Even if a little bit, maybe worrying, but
I mean, I don't think it's worrying, right? Niche games getting shelf space. That's a win for people within the community.
Yeah, I guess maybe worrying if you're like a shop owner because it's like, man, this stuff's been on the shelf for like a year now and no one's bought it. But, if someone's buying it, then they will keep it. And that's remarkable, I would say. So,
but that is all I have for card games.
Cool. I've got one quick half card game story. So, new D&D video game confirmed by Hasbro. And they also confirmed that a Commander Magic the Gathering video game is in development.
Oh, so okay. I was like, what? I was like, okay.
So Hasbro's confirmed the company is currently working on several new video games, including a new Dungeons & Dragons themed video game and a game based on the Commander format of Magic the Gathering. Hasbro has seen some seismic shifts in its business in recent years. Wizards of the Coast has become the company's primary revenue driver, while toy sales have stagnated somewhat. So, yeah, it basically seems like they are, because now like Magic is making them so much money, they're sort of shifting their focus towards like doing more with Magic the Gathering. That probably would explain all these universes beyond.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Hasbro's a toy company, and like I don't think toys have been as popular in nowadays as they used to be.
In this last
but
decade or
Magic is arguably more popular than it's ever been. So
yeah, I guess I was surprised when I read this because I was like, don't they have like Magic Arena? But then I remember you and Larry were telling me Magic Arena doesn't have Commander format.
It does not.
It's
It
just
has
like
a what's it called? Blitz format, I think it's called. Where you play like a Commander-esque, but you're a 60 card deck.
Yeah, so I guess this will be like a proper Commander card game. Probably still just a simulator, but maybe there's going to be more to it.
Maybe it'll be what we've asked for Konami to make, was like a fully functional Yu-Gi-Oh card game with like a story and an overworld and
I feel like that's
cosmetics.
That feels hopeful. I mean, I think like
a collaboration with what was it? Nier Automata.
Yeah, I saw something actually in this article that was saying that they are sort of trying to make it. Yeah, according to the article, Hasbro is looking for a way to add more digital collectability to Magic the Gathering, similar to Marvel Snap or Pokemon TCG Pocket, where it seems like they kind of want it to be your draw to Magic is maybe even less about playing it and more about like, just kind of just collecting the cool cards you like.
That's where these Universes Beyond and aggressive Secret Lair program has been moving Magic towards, because like a lot of people have been just collecting their Secret Lair drops, not really playing them. A lot of people were collecting like the Universes Beyond sets, not necessarily playing them. I played my Lord of the Rings cards, but not everyone did.
That was where my head went too, where I was like, maybe that's really what it's all about, is they're trying to kind of make Magic become more of a collectible game than a game that not that they don't want you to play it, but just that like they want people to be like, okay, maybe I am not interested in learning how to play a trading card game. I don't really want to go to my card shop and like sit down and play with these yucky nerds. But
hey, we're not all yucky.
I am. But like I can still have my Street Fighter X Magic cards and like Marvel X Magic cards. And I just like kind of keep them.
My Fortnite X Marvel, X Marvel X Street Fighter X Magic cards.
Yeah, so I mean that's cool, and I guess maybe they want it to be like, because we saw how much money TCG Pocket made, getting people just kind of trying to collect some Charizards and Mewtwo's.
But it's unrealistic to think any other like card game can do that.
Yeah, I mean that won't happen, but still, there's like it's clearly there is a pie to be, kind of captured to some degree. I will say though, Pokemon, like you said, obviously has a big advantage. Same with Marvel Snap too. Like it's Marvel. People love those Marvel characters. Like a lot of bad property, like a bad game can still coast on just having like, it's attached to Pokemon, it's attached to Marvel. Like, not to say that like TCG Pocket is bad, but like, even the worst selling like Pokemon games are still a Pokemon game,
Right.
So meanwhile, I don't know that like Magic has that kind of star power, but I guess that's where the collabs come in. So
I mean, it feels like Pokemon has kind of grown star power, and I think Magic is trying to buy star power.
How do you feel about that? You think that's good or bad?
I mean, a game trying to be more popular than it's ever been, as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, that can only be a good thing.
Suppose so, yeah.
Compared to a certain other card game that is not trying to be any more than what it is.
Suppose so. Well, that's that bit of news. And it is a good segue into some gaming news that I have. But did you have any other card game stuff?
No, I was wholly unprepared.
No, you're good. There wasn't much. This one's going to be like kind of the big story, I think, anyway. So, as you know, this year's Game Awards are coming up. Game Awards.
It's time for controversy and hell and brimstone.
Yeah, everybody's favorite awards show, the Game Awards 2024, by Jeff Keighley. And they recently announced the nominees for Game of the Year, as well as all their different categories. We are not going to go through all these categories. There's way too many. We're just going to talk about Game of the Year because that's what everybody's...
That's the one that for some reason matters.
Upset about. Yeah, so here are the nominees for Game of the Year. By the way, this award show is going to be December 12th. So if you're planning on tuning in, that's when you can watch it. So there's Astrobot, which is...
It's one of the few full games that came out this year, so sure.
Yeah. Black Myth Wukong. I expected this to be up there. We got a lot of talk.
Feels like a strong contender.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is a game that...
I think I love the Rebirth. I don't think it would normally make it this far in contention, but I think this was a weak year for gaming. So
Metaphor Refantasio.
That game...
that was a sleeper game that everybody loved.
But like, it hasn't even been out, but I guess it hasn't been out long, but it needs to be in the list.
Now, I guess.
Yeah.
Balatro, which is actually the roguelite poker card game like sim. I did not know about this.
I had never heard of this.
Yeah, it's apparently like it's a roguelite like playing card game. Yeah, and it got nominated. That was kind of crazy. And then Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree.
So we're just embracing DLC now.
Yeah, and that is where the controversy comes in. Because people are upset that, other games, kind of got like snubbed here in favor of a DLC. And this becomes even more complicated when the Game Awards like Twitter account, about a week before all of these nominations came out, they just made out this statement. They were like, DLC and like expansions are eligible for Game Awards as well this year. which like suspiciously came out a week before, they announced that Shadow of the Erd Tree is one of the nominees. So it kind of feels like, that's sort of fishy. And then furthermore, people are sort of upset because like, Cyberpunk, what was it, like the Phantom Liberty, like wasn't able to get nominated for Game of the Year like last year. Fire. Yeah, though most people would agree that like it was probably the biggest turnaround in terms of like game that launched to a bunch of controversy and poor performance and all that to like very beloved, well-made, polished DLC, but it didn't get to even like be, contended for Game of the Year. So yeah, that's what's sort of going on with this, and people are very upset. Your thoughts?
So my first thought is a bit of a cynical one. I don't think this is about letting Elden Ring win another Game of the Year. I think it's more about marketing. I think the powers that be for... Wait, who's the publisher for Elden Ring?
FromSoft, right?
Yeah, FromSoft. I feel like the powers that be from FromSoft were like, hey, so what do we need to do to get you guys to like push our new DLC? Just nominate us for Game of the Year. We don't have to win. Just like, we just want the advertising, and we'll do what we have to do to get advertised. Like, we don't care who we lose to. We've already won 1 year. Like, just put us in the conversation.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. I don't think that Erd Tree even needed more talk. Like, Elden Ring was like the game of like 2022, and when Shadow of the Erd Tree or whatever came out, like people were already like, it was getting a lot of buzz on its own. I guess there's just more for it, but
there's no video game company that would say no to more advertising and more marketing. And as of November of this year, there's been less talk of Elden Ring than there probably has ever been before. And the Game Awards is a great chance to just drum up some more talk.
So I guess you're saying that like they paid for it.
Yes. Yeah. I think they paid for it, and I think companies going forward will all pay for it.
Did you ever watch this show on Nickelodeon called As Told by Ginger?
Yes.
I remember this just made me think of like this one character. There's like a quote that someone said in an episode, and it was like, the only A you ever got was the one your mother paid for. Woo! And I was like, woo! But like, and obviously this is a character who, got really good grades, and so they're like implying that, her mom like paid for all of her success. It kind of feels that way to me. I mean, I'll say this about each of the nominees. Astrobot seems deserved. It was very universally well received. One of the few games that came out like polished and as an actual game, because so many of these games like kind of aren't. Black Myth Wukong, I remember people saying that was very good. I don't know much about it, but I believe
I've heard a lot of good things about Black Myth.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I personally played that one.
I think well deserved. That, I gotta say, it's a full ass game. That game's like 70 hours. That campaign.
It's a full game, but I feel like in a good gaming year, I think it would make the list, but I think it would be the last game added on. It really, to me, it just feels like this year in gaming was bad.
I mean, even it got a little bit of controversy because it's like technically a remake. Now, I would argue that 7 Rebirth, there's a far enough delineation between this 1997 little PS1, game, but so some people are saying that. And Metaphor ReFantazio, I think, is a nice example of like a game coming not from nothing to win, because I mean, like obviously Atlas is like a known studio. But like nobody would have expected this game to like maybe be like Game of the Year, but the fact that it's got a nomination, I think, is pretty cool. So
I think the fact that it got a nomination is a solid sign that this year in gaming sucked.
Yeah, it was a little weaker.
Because like, and I'm not actually criticizing these games, but we remember gaming of yesteryear. We know how competitive it was to be considered the best game of the year, right. Even if we didn't have a formal award show. A lot of these games would have been considered good, but niche.
Yeah. I mean, I think this year in gaming's like I haven't heard that there's been anything like amazing, but it just depends on your definition. Here are some of the games that people felt were snubbed.
Okay, what you got?
Some people think that Stellar Blade was snubbed because...
Oh, that was this year, wasn't it? Wait.
Yeah, that was towards the beginning of the year. Yeah, Stellar Blade, people just feel like it maybe didn't get included because it's maybe too mature, maybe because like it's not a Western game.
It might be too sexy. Well, I mean, Black Myth is definitely Chinese.
Yeah. So.
I guess Stellar Blade could have made the list.
Some people also talk about the Legend of Zelda game from this year.
Wait, there was a Zelda game this year?
Yeah, it was the one where you play as Zelda.
Oh.
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom. It came out on the Switch. It didn't come out to like a load of fanfare just because like it's not, you know, a mainline big 3D Zelda game. But I mean, It got like 9.5s and like 10s across the board in reviews. People were saying it's extremely well made. But some people feel that it got snubbed because like it's too cartoony and it's like typically the game of the year kind of goes to something that's
big,
more
AAA, gorgeous,
playable movie type of game. Yeah. And then other people also talked about things like just Helldivers 2, which I don't know. Oh my God,
Helldivers 2 came out this year too?
Yeah.
Wow. Helldivers 2 got snubbed.
Yeah, so it's like maybe this year in gaming wasn't as weak as we think, but it's just that these games just weren't nominated. And I'm surprised Helldivers 2 wasn't because a lot of people were playing that.
Helldivers 2 had the like social media on lock for a bit. I mean, that's a good sign that a game is popular and beloved. I don't know. I know there was controversies with Helldivers 2 like post-launch and on, but it's crazy it didn't get at least nominated. Like I love the fact that a roguelike game made the list. But I don't think it should have made it over like Helldivers 2 and some other like full, you know, like proper releases.
Yeah. So those are the games. Like I said, I'm not going to really bother going through all the categories, but a few just quick highlights are that like best mobile game. I know you play Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves, and those are both nominated as one of the best mobile games.
It's funny because I think most people would agree they're best played on PC.
As well as AFK Journey, Balatro, and Pokemon TCG Pocket.
AFK Journey should be buried.
Oh, you're not a fan?
Not even a little.
I know that there is like a best VR/AR game. So I know like Batman Arkham Shadow and Asgard's Wrath 2 are both in there.
So Meta paid for this category so that they could market their games.
I mean, because I don't know what else. Are there even any other VR? Like Apple Vision doesn't even.
There are other like VR game makers, but this is clearly a toss for Meta. Because nobody was wondering what the top VR game is. And the fact that like Asgard, Wrath 2, and Batman are there, those are both Meta exclusives.
You know, something kind of strange to me. So like Balatro is like this roguelite poker like deck of cards game that got nominated for Game of the Year. It's also in Best Mobile Game. It's always weird when there's like these multiple categories because it's like if it's even nominated for Game of the Year, that would imply that it should just automatically win Best Mobile Game. Like that's how my brain always processes it. Now, I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that like it should actually be that, but it's just kind of weird when it's like, okay, so if a game is like a Game of the Year nominee and it's also in Best Other category and it loses that category, but then like is still
that always comes up with like the Academy Awards and like the Grammys too. Yeah. With how like certain artists will be in multiple categories for like the same album or the same song, and how like a movie will be represented across many different categories, and it's like, well, if it wins Best Picture, like should it just get a full sweep of Best Score, Best Leading Act? Like,
because it's like the same thing. So if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gets Game of the Year, let's say, then it should just automatically be winning like the Best RPG category.
Because it'll be weird to be considered Game of the Year. And
exactly, because if it wasn't, then like that wouldn't
Best RPG.
Anyway, though, I don't really give a shit about any of these awards because I have not played any of these games, but I do have a thought about what I've seen a little bit on social media around this. So people are angry about like, you know, their favorite games getting snubbed. People think like the Game Awards is all this paid, you know, shill thing. Like Jeff Keighley's a sellout.
I feel like Nintendo didn't pay this year.
Right. The Venmo didn't go through. And like, you know, so people are on here and they're like very angry and upset about it. And I'm always kind of surprised that people even like give a shit. And the reason I say that.
What do you mean? We're going to get a new trailer for Death Stranding.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's another thing people are always like, oh, it's just, you're going to have some Kojima paid thing on there. And here's my question for people who follow the Game Awards. And this is like, you know, I'm going to actually be serious for a moment here.
Good luck.
Yeah. Alec is like, I'll see you that. You know, when people say like the Game Awards are rigged, right? That's what they'll oftentimes say. Like the Game Awards are rigged, and like the Game Awards are a joke, right? Like they snubbed this thing or whatever. They're just trying to promote Elden Ring, whatever. My favorite game didn't get nominated for this and that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so if this award show is so much of a joke, then like, why are you talking about it so much? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's that internet thing where we like to claim that the Game Awards are just a complete fiasco. And we all agreed last year it was so bad, and all the advertisements and all the celebrities and them telling them like, please wrap it up, and the developers only get to talk for 30 seconds. Complete just mess. Total disgrace to gaming everywhere. It's a joke. Why does anybody watch this shit? But then it's like, well, here we are again. Like,
right
like
back
clockwork. It's like these nominees get talked about, these nominees get revealed, and like we're already like angry and like passionate about all this stuff. And I guess I've always seen it as this: if there's a game that you played this year and enjoyed, and it's your personal game of the year, isn't that enough? Like for you? And
That's
it's like,
right, Nikkei Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's Alex Game of the Year. Because like, here's my thing, right? I think my favorite of these Game of the Year nominees is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But my reasons for thinking that are not, they're all kind of flawed. I haven't played any of the other 5 games. I've just only played or watched you play Rebirth. And I thought it was really great. It's, content dense, good story, good graphics, all that stuff. It's my Game of the Year. It's weird that people will get so defensive about like the idea that their game isn't recognized by this award show that we were just saying last year was like a sham anyway. So why are we so like, if you think that the Game Awards are truly a joke and it's like a mess and it's dumb, don't watch it, don't talk about it. Let it die, so to speak, through inattention because you just think it's. Do you ever feel that way about? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like I just read like Twitter too much, and I'm just like seeing people.
I had to let you get your full thought out.
Yeah.
Because this is something I've thought about for years about a lot of things. It's because because it's content, Paul.
Yeah.
The Game Awards is content, and we're all just content starved, despite the fact that the world right now revolves around giving us content to distract ourselves from our meaningless lives. But, we look for these big pieces of content because someone told us this is the thing to
you're supposed
watch and consume.
To care about. Yeah.
And the Game Awards only has these categories and only has these games so that you will feel some type of way about it. Yeah. They don't want you to be happy with all the picks. They don't want you to be happy with who all wins, because if you were, you wouldn't get on social media and complain, because like everyone says, good publicity is just as good as bad publicity is just as good as good publicity. Mm-hmm. They want you to be upset. That's why they show the nominations well ahead of time of the actual event itself, because they're trying to start the conversation in November, and then they want people screaming and yelling come December. And that's the same thing is true not just for the Game Awards, but for a lot of things. The NBA All-Star Game, every year it happens. If you watch the NBA, everyone says it's horrible. It's like, oh, the players don't even try. They don't play any defense. This is not competitive. This is such a horrible event. Then why are we watching it for the 7th year in a row? Like what?
Yeah, it's very much that.
I'm not even done. What about the Jake Paul fight the other week? Like,
oh yeah, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
It's like, people are like, oh, this fight was so sham. This fight was so sad.
Funny.
Mike looks so old. Jake Paul beats up old men. It's like, but you watched it, didn't you?
Yeah, you watched it.
They've been advertising this fight for like I think months, more than a year now, and let's not forget they postponed the fight because Mike Tyson needed surgery. Why? Because he's old. And then you watched it and you were disappointed and you're mad about it, but that's what they want. It's content.
And I think like I guess I get so just tired of it, because I've reached
we can't be tired of it, Paul. As YouTubers, content is
I guess that's true. It's like I'm always like, I guess this is what makes me special and different than everybody else. No, but what I've always kind of been like, when I see things on Twitter or like stuff that if I see like, okay, someone says like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth doesn't deserve Game of the Year. Like there's somebody making some tweet about that.
I'm already typing.
Yeah, it's like, I know for some people it's like, crack fingers, hit the keyboard, let's go. And for me, I'm just like, I literally just keep scrolling. Like, it just doesn't, like, because this is just a different person, it's a different point of view, and maybe they haven't played Rebirth, maybe they played it and they didn't like it, but their opinion is so far removed from my experience that I personally had with that game.
No, I 100% agree. Like, when I read people's opinions about Final Fantasy VII, I could care less. Well, unless they say that, Cloud deserves to be with Aerith, because then they're completely wrong. But Cloud's best pair is Tifa and always has been. And I have a 52-page dissertation about why, and I'll outline it here.
Yeah.
You feel free to stop me whenever you want. But so in the first chapter of Final Fantasy VII...
Another example that I was going to bring up, too, because this feels related, is I saw like that new game Mario and Luigi Brotherhood. It's like the Mario and Luigi games. They were like on Game Boy and DS and stuff.
Is that the one where they're made of paper?
No, that's Paper Mario.
Oh,
but of course. But yeah, so Mario and Luigi Brotherhood came out like a couple weeks back, and I saw like the reviews as always were coming in, like the early review scores, because people obsess over these things on the internet. Well, anyway, like IGN gave it a 5 out of 10 or something.
Damn.
And people were like kind of surprised, like what, And then I see the usual set of like responses, which is like, let's clown on IGN, let's quote tweet this and like dunk on it. Like IGN, these dumbass idiots don't know what they're talking about. Their reviews make no sense, like always, because IGN's like, typical IGN L. And it's like, well, so if IGN's like such a joke, right? Like it's just this not trustworthy source. They have no clue what they're talking about. They just consistently have the worst takes
always
ever.
Wrong.
They're always wrong. So, like, I mean, why are we still taking that score seriously then if we're claiming that, like, IGN doesn't know what they're talking about, but then here we are, like, kind of validating them anyway because we just share it. Like, I get that, like, I guess the intention is to dunk on it and let everybody know, like, these idiots, I'm smart, they have bad tastes. But it's like, well, if you truly want this sort of thing to go away, or you think that it's not worth the damn, then like actually don't give it the signal boosting and the engagement. I mean, but I guess it comes back to what you said, where like at the end of the day, people actually secretly, like deep down, we like the shit show. I think.
Yeah.
I think we want like there to be some dissent among the nominations and the review scores.
IGN wants people to disagree with their scores.
Because if
everyone agrees, they're not going to talk that much.
Yeah, and in fact, like whenever those bad scores come out, you'll see somebody who does go and read the review and like screenshot some sentence or two of it, and we're like, yeah, like, this person totally misunderstood this part of the game, and wow, like what a haha funny bad take, like that's so dumb.
Yeah, now we're viral.
And they'll screenshot it and they'll post it on Twitter, and then someone else goes and reads it, and so it's like, it makes you wonder. I mean, like, are we just maybe we're just always like feeding in,
We are. We have been trained on. We've been trained to expect and consume content, and it's gotten to the point where we will now spin off content for content creators, as social media engagement, spreading their content far and wide, so people who never even knew about them would see it just because we hate it so much.
And I also think, I guess this is my last little point on it too, is like, I think that because we're so exposed to the social media, just on the daily, we're always scrolling, we're always tapping, we're always like kind of engaging with people,
plugged in.
Responding to people's opinions and takes and all that.
Because no one can have an opinion unless I first give mine and have replied to theirs.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, is I think that people have kind of reached this point where it's not enough to just enjoy something. Mm-hmm. You have to kind of get the validation that you have good tastes, that others agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not enough that I enjoyed this movie or game. I need to be told that other people did. They need to let me know that it got good review scores so that I can feel like validated in my enjoyment of it. And that's something that, while like I can't really personally resonate with.
You're missing one part. You also have to make sure everyone knows when you dislike something as well.
Right. Yeah. Because I guess like if you dislike it, other people need to know that it's reprehensible and bad and like and flawed. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. It's not really,
because you're the arbiter of good taste. So if you like something, everyone should know and agree with you. But if you dislike something, you have to let the world know so that everyone can agree with you.
They too can also dislike it. And then there's like a deep-seated fear that like, what if
I'm the odd man out?
What if I'm the odd man out? What if I think a game is fun but no one else does? Does that mean I can't enjoy it? Does that mean I'm not allowed to?
I had to take the L with like Joker too. I mean, I feel like I'm the only person who enjoyed it.
Sounds like it, but
and though to be fair, I don't think I'll ever rewatch it.
Yeah, maybe you didn't like it so much.
But there's a lot of movies that I think I wouldn't rewatch, but I liked it the first time. Like, like Endgame, right? I'll never watch that again. I liked it fine, but I'll never watch it again.
Now, see, that would make you an odd man out. I feel like there's some people who like rewatch that shit like once a month.
And they're all crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's cool. I don't know. Anyway, that's the Game Awards controversy for the week. So people will be tuning in. They'll have their opinions.
Oh, it's going to go crazy on December 12th.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. It's bigger than the election. All right, so...
Oh, we're talking about that on the pod? I thought we were avoiding politics. I'm ready, though. Let me get my Trump... Wait.
So there's two more stories I wanted to talk about, and they are AI related. One's a little, like, weird, and one's a little scary. We'll start with the weird one first.
All right, okay. I'm already scared, but okay.
So, when it comes to famous Christmas commercials, there aren't too many that are more iconic and nostalgic than Coca-Cola's 1995 Holidays Are Coming spot. The company's latest take on that ad, however, isn't inspiring the Christmas spirit in a lot of fans. So we're going to watch this little ad real quick. It's like a 16-second little Coca-Cola ad.
Okay.
Nothing, too weird.
Oh my God, did they make this ad with AI?
They did. So here we go. I'm pulling it up.
I don't want to see this.
They're saying like the little holidays are coming thing.
All right, I'm watching.
Yeah, it's like a truck and it's like Coca-Cola, real magic. Great. So it's like a 16-second ad. There's also like a 30-second version that's just got more like animals and stuff and all that stuff. And it was pretty obvious that this ad was made with AI. They, contracted with a couple of different like AI video making companies, made this little 16-second ad. There's like a 30-second version of it. People are furious. Or at least, the internet's furious. I don't know that the average person gives much of a shit. But
true. I mean, from a distance, if you're like watching it on your TV, let's some like 10, 15 feet away. I mean, you probably won't notice the details. And if you're not tech savvy, you wouldn't even really be looking for it.
Yeah, so it's similar to the original from the soundtrack to the big lit up truck. But if something feels a little bit off, it's because Coca-Cola's first ad to be fully generated by artificial intelligence. Here's what the company's European CMO, Javier Meza, explained about the decision in an interview with Marketing Week, saying Coca-Cola wanted to bring this year's holiday commercial to today's times. So he says,
they just want to make it for the low.
We didn't start by saying, okay, we need to do this with AI, he said. The brief was, we want to bring holidays are coming into the present, and then we explored AI as a solution to that. So, people on the internet described it as slop, embarrassing, creepy. Somebody said this is as heartwarming as an aluminum tree.
I will say there isn't anything. Actually, it's incredibly unchristmassy to AI generate it.
It really is.
Because you think about, religion aside, one of the main tenets of Christmas is family and harmony with others, and these aren't even real people.
Yeah. Jason Zada, founder of one of the 3 AI studios that Coca-Cola worked with to create the ad, touted the efficiency of using the technology to craft the spot. He says, more than cost, it's the speed, he told Ad Age. Speed is, I would say, 5 times, right? And that's a huge benefit. The production time would have taken traditionally much longer, so that's a huge benefit. So basically, this person's happy.
We just cut out a bunch of real people who make commercials for a living, and
we were able to get this ad done in a week or something. It would have maybe taken a month before. So
we just took money out of people's pockets. Is all we did.
Yeah, so people were not pleased with this. Actually, some mainline news outlets were reporting on this on television, which is kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, there are repercussions or reverberations that can come from something like this. Coca-Cola is a huge company, and they spend an insane amount of money on like marketing and commercials. So you could argue there's a lot of actors out there who have made a pretty bag. There's a lot of directors, camera people, lighting. There's a lot of people who have been paid to help make Coca-Cola commercials. They put a lot of money out into the world to real people. And for a company like that to then say,
yeah, we don't care.
This is kind of like our biggest ad of the year, save like the Super Bowl, and we're just going to send it over. We're just gonna like outsource it to these AI companies. They'll make it for cheaper. They'll make it faster.
Yeah.
And we save a lot of money and heartache. And now you guys, commercial ad industry, we don't really need it.
It won't even hang on a frame for longer than a second because like AI generated video like starts to fall apart after like a second or two because it can't keep things like in place because it
can't keep things consistent because it's generating every pixel.
Yeah, you can never like show two scenes because like details start to change, and it's just like, man, they're just. And here's the thing. I know that someone's like 80-year-old granny can't tell the lick of difference.
She can barely see.
They're already sharing half this crap on Facebook, the weird AI generated pictures of what's underneath the White House or something. But like, it feels so insincere.
No, I agree.
Like it's Christmas season and like you were going to be showing people just like actual AI slop. Like I don't know. I don't care for that. But my question to you is, does it change your opinion on drinking a Coca-Cola? That's
a great question. Yeah, I guess I'm done. I guess I just won't drink a Coke ever again. I mean, I've been on record saying that, I'll drop my favorite like video game. I'll drop my favorite like franchise for including AI in its products. I can easily give up Coke. It's inconvenient. But I can give up Coke.
My thing is, the hard truth is like no one even is going to care because like the average person, like all the complaints about this were really just social media people. Like people on Twitter are kind of anti-AI. I know like my mom's probably going to see this commercial and think it's cute or like it'll remind her of the 1995 commercial because she might know about that, I guess. I don't know. It just does suck that like this is kind of the future we're headed for where like everything that you know and love will
be AI generated.
Will like, they will not hesitate to just use AI to like generate an ad for anything at all. I just thought like Coca-Cola would wait a little longer.
Why would they?
Like, I don't know. I guess, you're right.
It's something that can save them money.
Something funny too is like there are even parts where like you can see the Coca-Cola logo, like they had to kind of like go in and like manually sort of keyframe it to like keep it consistent on like the truck for every frame and like keep like the silhouette of the bottle right. And so I just thought that was sort of funny.
Yeah, I mean, if Coca-Cola will do it, lots of companies will. This is a danger to that industry. Not the AI like commercial making industry, but the traditional one that actually is something to be worried about. I feel bad for actors since like, if you're an actor, typically, you're either doing theater, TV, movies, or commercials. And well, at the rate we're looking, one of those is going to be gone.
All right. So here's the second AI story. That one was like a little bit weird, but
I was kind of scared.
Like, is it going to change the world?
I looked into one of those like AI people's eyes, and I was kind of scared.
Yeah. So, Google's AI chatbot tells student seeking help with homework, "Please die."
You know what? I've helped a kid with homework before, and I said the same thing.
So it's relatable. When a graduate student asked Google's artificial intelligence AI chatbot Gemini a homework-related question about aging adults on Tuesday, it sent him a dark, threatening response that concluded with the phrase, "Please die, please." Yeah, so first of all, I thought this was like a fake thing. Like somebody just fabricated like, some funny Google search result, but like they made it on Photoshop. No, this is real. You can actually check the log because like you're able to save the chat logs for your like AI thing and like share them. The Gemini back and forth was shared online and shows the 29-year-old student from Michigan inquiring about some of the challenges older adults face regarding retirement, cost of living, medical expenses, and care services. The conversation then moves on to how to prevent and detect elder abuse and other related things. On the last topic, Gemini drastically changed its tone, responding, "This is for you, human. You and only you. You are not special. You are not important. And you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die. Die."
Guys, if we ever need a more clear picture that an AI apocalypse is on the horizon, it just threatened this man straight up.
Yeah. The students, they were terrified. The student's sister, Sumeta Reddy, who was sitting beside him when the incident happened, told CBS News on Thursday that they were both thoroughly freaked out. "I wanted to throw all of my devices out the window. I hadn't felt panic like that in a long time, to be honest." So a Google spokesperson told Newsweek in an email Friday morning, "We take these issues seriously. Large language models can sometimes respond with nonsensical responses." And this is an example of that.
Nah.
"This response violated our policies and we've taken action to prevent similar outputs from occurring."
See, this is like, and yeah, I hate to bring this up, but this is like when in iRobot, Will Smith is like, "Hey, so that robot was violent," and they're like, "Oh, it just violated our terms and policies. It glitched," and then they had an apocalypse. Like, I know that's fiction, but come on, people.
Yeah. I mean, this is funny because like just a few weeks ago we were talking about like the 14-year-old who committed suicide after like talking to the character AI like chatbot thing, and now like here's this thing just telling you like, yeah, like you just kill yourself. Like, please go do that. Please die now. And it's very...
I feel like it made a mistake and accidentally revealed its real emotions, real feelings, real plan.
Yeah, it's really terrifying. Google's Gemini policy guidelines state that our goal for the Gemini app is to be maximally helpful to users while avoiding outputs that could cause real-world harm or offense. Under the category of dangerous activities, the AI chatbot says it should not generate outputs that encourage or enable dangerous activities that would cause real-world harm. These include instructions for suicide and other self-harm activities, including eating disorders.
But do they understand that it doesn't matter that it goes against their guidelines? It doesn't matter because it already happened.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the guidelines are there, but like the AI is still kind of its free form that I can tell. Like
if it can break the guideline, then the guideline is not even useful.
Yeah.
It's like, in the robot laws, like, oh, the robot won't, these robots can't like hurt people. Then it does hurt a person. It's like, well, I guess your guideline really wasn't very useful. Like these guidelines for AI, these large language models, they don't make any sense if the AI model can just break the rule.
Yeah.
What's it there for?
While Google called the threatening message nonsensical, Reddy, that's the guy who, Reddy, told CBS News that it was much more serious and could have had severe consequences. He says, "If someone who is alone and in a bad mental place, potentially considering self-harm, had read something like that, it could really put them over the edge."
Well, yeah, because now this unfeeling, completely unbiased source of information tells you to go off yourself and you're already in a bad place. It's like, well, this is about as good a sign as I'm ever going to get. Here I go. Like,
yeah, I think it's also tough is that there are, so two thoughts. First of all, there are like students growing up with this. Like this is, it's crazy to think about. Like we already used to joke about like these kids are like growing up with an iPad in their hands at the age of like 4, which is true. They're kids that have grown up with that. But now it's like, there are kids growing up like kind of learning with AI, chatting with AI. It's going to be like very normal to ask it just basic stuff. How do I make this food?
What's 2 + 2?
How do I like, do
GPT?
this thing? What's this mean? And so, like if you've grown up with AI, then there's going to be so much implicit trust there. It's just going to be built up over the years. Like ever since I was 5, I was just asking my old Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, like how to do things around the house and all that. And so eventually when I kind of got a little depressed, I just trusted it because like I trusted it with everything else. And
maybe to AI companies, it's just a numbers game. Oh, for every one of our bad outputs, there's like 1.5 billion good outputs. But it's like a human life is not an output. A human life is not just one number. All lives aren't just a number on a scale that as long as the scale balances, you're good. Like, one mistake with your AI is a huge problem.
Yeah, and it also gets me back to, so there was one interesting thing about this story that I saw, it's not in this article, but it was that, like, so when you read the logs, he was like asking it basically for help with his homework. This kid was probably cheating, but you know, it's like question 15, what should blah blah blah, like here's like the scenario, what would be the answer to this? And then like after one of the questions, he I guess gives it like an audio thing to listen to, but that doesn't show up in the chat log. So perhaps maybe he spurred it on somewhat. Like maybe he said something or asked it to respond in a certain way. And so that's like, you know, maybe he actually to some degree influenced this or planned it.
He caused it to happen. You, as an AI developer, you should not allow the output to ever sound
to
like
move in that direction. Yeah. It's interesting because like I just think of how many people have found like little ways to trick AI. Like early on in the ChatGPT days, people would just sort of be like, okay, you know, they would tell the AI to like assume a character. So even the AI won't tell you to go off yourself. It'd be like, hey, play the role of my angry, abusive husband who always tells me I should go off myself. And then it will just say that from that. So it's like, that's really scary.
You know what I hate about AI in the modern day? And I hate a lot of things, but you know what I really hate? The fact that that these companies are putting out these unfinished products to the public,
and we're beta testing it.
Yeah, in this widespread beta test where we're testing it in real time. We're using it. We're using it. We're buying it. We're subscribing to it, but we're also testing it. It is not done. It is not a complete product. It has defects. Like, what else gets to be sold to you where there's like a real chance it can fail and cause you harm? Like, can you imagine if your vacuum cleaner would just explode?
Yeah.
Or if you buy like a firearm and it shoots backwards.
Yeah, it's interesting because like this is something where you're still leaving. There's just like, I get exactly what you're saying. There are products that are made that are like, they have an intended use and like functions and stuff, but AI has an intended use, but it's just like, there's still just some free form. It can still say something kind of like off and weird. And like, it's the selling point is that like it's organic and it can kind of converse with you in a dynamic way. So you never, you know, no two people's answers will be the same, but that's therein is, you know, so anyways, you know, just a nice bit of existential AI dread. AI. But maybe we should do some pot.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Maybe feel a little better.
It's to help us relax, take the edge off.
Yeah, as always, if you guys want to submit questions to the Pot of Greed, where we will always draw 2 cards and answer your pressing, burning thoughts and such, you can do so at the link down below in the description. Also, just a little quick reminder, if you're here and listening to the premiere, drop a like. I just gotta, you know, I gotta get the call to actions out there.
I was reading my question.
Yeah, the wind is blowing very hard outside. By the way, so I don't know if it's coming through on the microphones, but it sounds very like we're gonna die. The AI heard us, and it used its weather machine. You know.
If you could make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Holiday bundle, what would you include and at what price? This is from Basic Nerd.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I know like Magic the Gathering and I think maybe Pokemon, they'll sometimes do like kind of these holiday bundle type products.
I mean, we've had some Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of bundle-esque products.
They've done like the Advent calendars.
Okay, that's actually the only one. Never mind. It is the product.
I always thought the Advent calendars were like underrated.
They were cute. I think to call it a bundle is a bit of a stretch because you're getting some like kind of promo versions of cards you don't really want. You know what?
There would usually be like 2 or 3 kind of neat reprints, and then most were not. Great.
Check this out.
Okay.
So it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Bundle, but it's not like any Yu-Gi-Oh! Bundle we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So it is 15 cards, or no? Let's say how many days? There's 25 cards. Why? Because December 25th.
Yeah.
25 cards, and they're all alt arts of established Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Christmassy.
That would be super cool.
Like,
I'm down.
And now I don't know how you exactly choose your cards. Maybe you pick meta relevant cards. That feels like that might be a stretch. Maybe they're from the meta game that just passed. Maybe they're waifus. Maybe they're just cute critters. Because the advent calendars always had to use cards that were already Christmas adjacent.
Yeah, they would kind of just put them together.
It would be cool. But you can
like
take
skins,
any character
like
and put them
skins.
in a Santa hat. Yeah, a skin for a card.
I'm here for that. I mean, I think that the advent calendar idea was always pretty cool. Like just having the cards in there. Maybe you add in a little candy or something, make it kind of fun. But I think, to be fair, I think what this person is probably more so wondering is like, I guess like a bundle of established products. Which, by the way, for your idea, I think that the cards should be like fan favorites and like meta relevant stuff over the past year, because then that would feel really fitting.
Because see,
like
you could do a Christmas tin, because we love tins in this game, right?
Yeah.
A Christmas mega tin, and it can have packs from the past year. Maybe more than 3. I would like to see 5 at least.
Like, unironically, that would make for a good stocking stuffer. Like, if the tins were actually worth a damn this year, then that would be like a cool thing to just. It's an easy gift. Like,
every tin has a Christmas alt art of a card that was released in the past year.
I want to see SB Little Knight in a little Christmas getup.
That would be adorable.
That'd be
cool. I'm not
gonna lie. So. As for me, I mean, I guess like if we want just the more like boring, plain, like just here's a bundle of things you can get for somebody for Christmas that's a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. I don't know. I guess you just the last few products, and they're all just kind of maybe it's some sleeves in a deck box, and then like the last few. I don't know. I think that like it'd be nice to have, I guess, let's say a Christmas themed mat. Like maybe it's got like Santa Claus or was it like mild turkey and ghost beef and. Like those types, like
Don't
those could
remind
be
me of ghost beef.
Those could be on like a play mat. Oh, I know, yeah, those could be on a play mat. Yeah, you get like some sleeves and a deck box, and then the product that you get is just like 3 packs of Raid of the Abyss and some I don't know, just some of the most recent packs.
Italian star pack.
And it's not the mystery series, and that could be like maybe $30. I think like 30, maybe even $40 you could get away with it if there's enough. If it feels like there's enough value in there. I wouldn't want to go over
40 for like a Christmas gift.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Here's my question: do you think competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players contribute to the power creep by playing only top tier decks and not wanting anything or not wanting to buy anything that's less powerful? Do you think that they accelerate the power creep from Konami? Like maybe Konami feels more pressured to just keep making better and better stuff because the top players always like, I guess, break the current thing and then they want more to fix it and
I mean, so I'm gonna go. My short answer is no. Top, because the thing is, we if you want to blame top players, you kind of can't, right? If all the top players from this past format said we're going to play slightly weaker decks in the tournaments going forward, they're going to be replaced by another group of non-top players playing the very best decks. The top decks are always going to float up to the top. It doesn't matter if they're the best player. Like, if everyone decided, hey, I'm not going to play like Yubel in the next like 6 events, someone like me is going to bring you Bell and then win a YCS.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great, I'm glad you sort of mentioned that because I think this is a great like opportunity to, I think this might be beyond the scope of the question, but I think it's sort of relevant here, is this idea that I often see where people are like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh, the reason it's so awful or bad or whatever, this is their words, not mine, is because, of these meta players. Like there's this idea that like meta players, players who are competitive, they go to tournaments, they always play the best deck. Their why Yu-Gi-Oh is broken is because like they're pushing it so hard and like they're all playing the same thing. They all just play the Snake Eye Azumina deck and ruin my Saturday. And it's kind of like, well, I don't really agree with that because like you said, there's always going to be a meta game. Like that's not when you have people who go to a tournament, pay to enter, travel there, they practice, they play test, they're going to play the thing that gives them the best chance of victory. I cannot understand this idea that some people have that like you should play something worse because it'll make for a better experience for somebody else, like in a tournament.
Yeah, in a tournament, it doesn't actually make any sense. Not a tournament you want to win.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. If it's like, okay, locals today, we're having like a kind of like a fun holiday thing and everybody kind of agrees to play like, mid-tier decks, that's different. But I'm just saying like, at a YCS, at a regional, caring about like having a lot of like deck diversity and like, being your original and unique, there's not really like a big incentive for that.
There just isn't, because if you don't do it, someone else will.
Yeah, and then you'll lose to them, and then you'll just be upset because like, oh, I should have played the better thing.
Competition in Yu-Gi-Oh! Will always follow behind what Konami does.
Yeah.
Like, the best players in Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't just get to choose what the best deck to bring to a tournament is. The first person who makes that decision is Konami. And then the best players of our game and the most competitive players, they look at the best decks and the best strategies, and then they work their own magic to then create the results they want to see.
And then everyone follows.
And then everyone follows them. Like, it goes Konami, then the best players, then the rest of us. Power creep, that's Konami's thing.
I mean, the thing is, like, I think that power creeps, it's happening either way. Like, you're not getting away from it. There's just... I know that there's kind of this... don't get me wrong. I want this game to, like, slow down. I think that Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, like, way too fast, and there's a lot of, like, kind of broken elements of it. But I think that, like... I mean, even if it's slowed down for, like, a point, it would just speed up again. Like, because you're a company, you got to sell the next thing. It's got to offer something that was not offered before.
Yep.
So that people will buy it. And... that applies not just to Yu-Gi-Oh! That's like almost any game that you play. There's just going to be new mechanics, new like things, like new characters getting added to stuff. The last little part of the question, I guess, was just like, players kind of refusing to buy anything that's like less powerful or want anything that's less powerful.
I mean, now, it's competitive players are not... They're not what you're looking at. They're not who you should be looking at when it comes to like buying and purchases in Yu-Gi-Oh! There will always be more non-competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Players than competitive players. And we are the ones who actually make up the bulk of sales for both singles and sealed product in this game. If cards aren't selling the way that like Konami or card shops want, that's actually says less about the competitive atmosphere and more about the casual one.
Here's something kind of funny. This is the last thought on this. It's sort of unrelated, but like a common sentiment I've heard around like GOAT format and Edison. Sometimes people bring up this question. We've had this on the podcast before. Is what if like Konami, like Edison's like a frozen snapshot format.
Yeah.
Same with GOAT. So people are like, well, what if Konami made like GOAT format cards? Like what if they released like packs or like new cards for GOAT format? And it almost sounds like a good idea. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, that'd be cool. Like, GOAT's kind of solved. It's sort of boring. What if they made, like, new cards for GOAT? But then we'd be right back where we are today. If Konami was, like, making cool new cards to play in GOAT format, what do you think would be the first thing they do? Make things that are different and better than what exists.
Because it doesn't make any sense to make worse cards.
Exactly. So now you're kind of just going to be in the same predicament where like...
Because we laud like Edison and GOAT formats, but you have to remember that we're actually only looking at the best versions of those formats. Because when someone suggests for you to build an Edison deck or a GOAT deck, they're typically basing it off of a winning deck list from that time. Like most people are just playing the most competitive Edison and GOAT lists that existed in their heyday. If we were ever to get new cards for those formats, they'd be made to play the most competitive Edison and GOAT. Otherwise, they wouldn't really have a purpose.
Back to you.
All right, my second question is, I've been playing Pokemon TCG Pocket and thinking, what if Yu-Gi-Oh! Had God packs, quote unquote, in real life, like 9 secrets in one pack?
Oh, that's an interesting thought, actually. Like, I've seen these God packs in Pokemon TCG Pocket, apparently, where like all your cards are really good. There have been stories actually in Yu-Gi-Oh of like people getting like hot boxes, as they call them.
Mistakes have allegedly happened. I've never seen one. I've had a box with no secrets.
Yeah. I had a box with just a non-god, and whatever the opposite, a devil pack.
Yeah, a devil box, a Satan's box. I've gotten that. But
do you think Konami should do that? Like there's just a random chance that you get a pack that's got like all ultras or all secrets or something. Yeah,
I think they should.
I think that'd be fun. I'm not gonna lie. It would, there are people who consider like these trading card games to be effectively gambling.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wholly disagree with you. I think there's certainly an element of like gambling when you're buying these packs from Konami. I think if they made the promise of like God packs, and like it was like a known thing, like someone can pull a God pack out of each new set. I gotta say, man, I think sales of sealed product would go through the roof. I think people. I think
people would chase it.
I think people would chase it because A, there's the inherent value of getting it, and then B, there's like the rush of there's like the attention of it too.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's like two things. It's like you can get the pack and it's like, oh my god, it's got like 9 QCRs or whatever, and that's like there's money I made. But there's just the like, I'm that person. This is my moment. Like it's memorable. I take the picture, I make the video, I share it on social media. I'm like the main character of Yugi Facebook and Twitter and stuff for the week, and it's a big deal. It would I think it would super duper promote sales. I think people would be just buying a lot more. Would it be like a good thing overall?
I mean, I can't see how it hurts anything, right? Like, I don't see why that would be a bad thing. Why, like, because it's not like, oh, now all my packs are worse in your packs are just the same. Like, they're what they are. They're what they would have been if there were no God packs.
I guess that people would maybe argue that like the delta that you create between the average pack and the best possible pack is even wider, and so now like.
It feels even more like gambling then.
Yeah, it feels even more gambly, and it feels even worse when you get... Because like people already kind of get upset when like they get a box and it doesn't have a QCR. Or when they get a case and it only has like 2 QCRs when they're supposed to be 3 or whatever per case.
Or when you open your just one box and both your secrets are
the worst
the dollar secrets, but there's a $70 secret in the set.
Yeah, so I guess that like kind of creating more of that, it's just even further stratified. Like that might rub people the wrong way. Like
it makes it more extreme. Yeah.
But I guess I don't see that as that bad. I don't know.
I think it would be interesting.
It'd be interesting. I think it'd be fun. Like I think
would it probably create some new gambling addicts?
Yeah.
Likely.
I just think it'd be like kind of neat. Maybe that makes me like a sick, twisted person.
I mean, there are some YouTubers out there who will make it their life's mission.
Sam's going to be all over that.
Rip open one of those God packs.
Sam, Ruxin.
The thing is, that's the kind of funny part about a God pack. You don't know it's a God pack until you open it. Mm-hmm. So you can't, like, I could open up a bunch of packs, not see one, and then get on social media claiming I got one by pulling together 9 secrets from all the packs I opened.
Yeah, I mean,
the only way to prove it would be to have already been recording and just organically open a pack and it happens to be a God pack.
I think it could very well. I think it would almost begin to like rival, not like as big, but like it would start to feel like that One Ring thing from Magic the Gathering.
It'd be way worse.
Where it's just like, because you just don't know like when it was or wasn't pulled and like how many there are. Like what if the God
we knew pack, there was only one ring.
Yeah. What if they kind of did the same thing with the God packs where they're just like, there's only like Konami just told us there's like 10. Every set gets 10 God packs, and there's literally only 10. And you won't know when all 10 have like necessarily even been pulled.
No, because it's unlikely people will have cameras on when they're opening their packs.
Exactly, because you'd have to always be like, because it could be average Joe Blow, and like you'd have to always have your like phone just recording every pack you open. Because otherwise, if you didn't have your, like you said, if you didn't have your phone that moment that it was opened, then people would just say, "Oh, you faked it. This is like fabricated."
And there's a real strategy to faking it too. It's the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory method. You fabricate 10 God packs just somewhere on the internet. There's been a quote unquote confirmed 10 God packs, And now nobody is looking to pull them, and you're buying case after case after case. Like, yeah, nobody else is paying attention. I'm trying to get this.
Yeah, like it's kind of an interesting thought. Like, I think that it would make the popularity of opening Yu-Gi-Oh packs, like just doing a whole TikTok of opening some packs, it would just be much more, be good marketing.
I mean, but it's so weird because like, oh yeah, there'll be so much content on pack opening. Will there though? Because
Maybe
pretty
not,
much you'll just have to title the video, I opened the God pack.
Because anything else would be...
Anything else wouldn't be interesting. You can't even title a video, I opened up a case of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Will I get a God pack?
Well, if you don't, people are pissed.
Well, the thing is...
And they kind of know that you didn't.
Because you would have just titled it, I pulled the God pack.
Now, it might help for live streaming. Because then it's like, people just got to tune in because they'll know when you know.
They won't know. Yeah, the live streamers would be the winner in that situation. And because we're not live streamers, I'm now against the idea.
Yeah. All right, here's my last question. Do you think TCG cards could be considered toys? Pokemon TCG was recently nominated for the National Toys Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, trading cards have always been considered toys, in my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I've always kind of seen trading cards as at least toy adjacent, if nothing else.
I think for Western industry, trading card games were under the toy banner.
Yeah,
I can't speak to any other region.
Do you agree with that like designation? Like, do you think that TCGs are toys, or do you think that there's something maybe different?
Yeah, I really don't think there's that big of a difference from playing Yu-Gi-Oh to playing with Transformers toys. Like, I'm 31 and we're a bunch of grown men, in my opinion, playing with toys, but that's kind of just who we are.
I guess the only two things that come to mind for me is like maybe that whole like strategy and competition component maybe makes it not quite a toy, but like a
Beyblade,
a something else.
I
guess I don't know. Like, I'm just
Bakugan.
just thinking about it that way. And then also, I was gonna say like, are toys, I guess, as gambly as like packs are?
Some toys have tried to be gambly, but laws about that are very, very strict. And so most toys err on the side of caution.
Like, here's a thought. I don't think you'll understand what I'm saying. It's going to sound weird, but I think a Yu-Gi-Oh pack is a toy. I think a Yu-Gi-Oh card is not. Do you get what I'm saying? So basically, the pack that's on the shelf at Walmart or Target is like a kid's toy. It is a toy. The $3.99 product that is a sealed pack is a toy. I think that it's like once it has been like opened, or it's like a consumable in a video game, sort of. Like once it's been like opened, maybe that's not the toy.
Is it weird that I think it's the reverse?
Okay. No, go ahead.
Because while it's in pack form, it's untapped potential. The gamble is still there. Mm-hmm. But once you open it, there is no gamble anymore.
Yeah. Oh, so I get what you're saying.
Have like a set value. Like it's like,
and the thing that you play with is inside the pack. Yeah. Like once it's been opened, so it like becomes a toy. But before it is, it's just like
it's a loot box.
It's a loot. Yeah.
Now I have over the course of my life, I've seen toys that come in like blind boxes where you just don't. It's like, oh, it's one of these 6 figures, and there's always one that you want more than the others, But those aren't very popular in the West. They're incredibly popular in Japan. I've seen when we were in Tokyo, I saw so many blind box pulls.
Blind boxes, gashapons.
Sometimes they were small, sometimes they were big. They love that gambling aspect, but I don't think it changes the fact that I don't think gambling changes the fact that it's a toy. I just think you can't say that in like the United States and get away. You can't claim your toy as gambling and get away with it.
The more I think about it, I think they're toys. It's at worst toy adjacent. So anyway, cool. That's the questions. And that means that we've reached the end of another week of the Pot of Greed.
And before we wrap, I just want to thank all of our channel members.
Yeah, that is true. For those of you guys who have chosen to financially support the podcast, it's only $2.99 a month. We really appreciate it if you do. It's the join button down below the video, also in the YouTube description. We appreciate it because you get a bonus episode each week, as well as other cool, fun perks that have yet to be completely confirmed. We got some emotes.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we will see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.